Event G20 India Presidency panel discussion on digital transformation and digital literacy. I am Mitali Agrawal, Pradha Sambadalo Adhikari, Jansamprak Adhikari, Public Relation Officer, IIT Hyderabad, is honored to take you through this event as a master of ceremony today. Our chief guest for the event, our beloved director, Professor B.S. Murthy, will be arriving shortly to brief the audience who is present in person and online on ITH YouTube channel. The event is divided into three sessions. The first is an inaugural session, which will be starting shortly. Second is a elocution competition where we will be hearing thought-provoking ideas of you how India and other countries can lead during the India G20 presidency. And the third will be the most awaited moment of today, the panel discussion on G20 India presidency on digital transformation and digital literacy. Now I request our chief guest for today, Honorable Director IIT Hyderabad, Professor B.S. Murthy, Shri M.S. Mahesh, IS, Deputy Director RNU Hyderabad, Prasar Bharati, Professor Chandrasekhar Sharma, Dean SRC IIT Hyderabad, Dr. Mudrika Khandelwal, our beloved Dean ACR, to take their chair on the dais and grace the occasion, please. Sir, please. As we embark on a journey of knowledge and innovation, I extend a warm invitation to all the esteemed guests to join us in request our guests today on the dais to join us in igniting the lamp of wisdom. Sir, may I request you to proceed towards the lamp lighting, please? Just as the light brightens this event, it also signifies illumination that digital transformation brings. Together, let's light the way to understanding, dispelling the shadow of ignorance, and embrace a fresh era of digital growth and learning. Thanks a lot to all the guests. It is indeed a momentous occasion for me too. I find it quite astonishing how the life comes to a full circle. From an internship from All India Radio Bhopal in RF signal processing to hosting this significant event along with All India Radio RNU Hyderabad today. So it is a nostalgic moment for me too. So G20 में भारत करे अध्यक्षता सर्वत्र हो डिजिटल साक्षरता. So with this message forward, I request as we gather here today, let us reflect on the vision of the developed India, a dream nurtured and propelled by digital revolution. To echo this sentiment, I would like to invite Shri M.S. Mahesh Garu, IIS Deputy Director, RNU Head, Hyderabad, to deliver the welcome address, sir.
To begin with, 77th Independence Day wishes to all of you. It's a great privilege to welcome you, all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, to the G20 Digital Information Panel discussion. I welcome the Chief Guest, Professor B.S. Murthy, Director, IIT Hyderabad, and other panelists. Professor Kiran K. Kuchi, Professor Srimati P. Rajalakshmi, Dr. Mudrika Kandelwal, and moderator Professor Sri Sharma. Under the India's G20 presidency, more than 100 meetings in 45 cities have been arranged all over the country. Akashvani, under the Aegis of Information and Broadcasting Ministry, is holding this program as part of the series of events being planned for this month. This is our attempt to keep the tempo among all citizens in various services on the G20 since our country took over the presidency. Many meetings were held by the Sherpa and working group committees on various themes like digital technology, climatic changes, agricultural growth, and health. Now, the digital technology and digital literacy is one such important topic to be discussed today. In fact, it's a pride for everyone of us to be part of this prestigious program as we are celebrating 77th Independence Day and Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations. This is our first program in Telangana state because we have coordinated with the IIT Hyderabad, and Mr. Murthy is kind enough to accept our proposal. And now we are organizing this panel discussion. I profusely thank Sri Murthy Garu for accepting our offer to hold this program. Thank you, sir, Murthy Garu. I also thank Professor Mudrika ji, Professor Shivaji Garu, particularly PRO Mitali ji and her team for the efforts they put in to make this program successful. Thank you once again. Welcome to all.
So as you have shared, Viksit Bharat ka sapna, digital ho India apna. And now the moment a person who doesn't need an introduction at this platform, but sir, with your permission, I'll briefly read about you because you are our honorable chief guest for the today's event. Professor Buddharaju Srinivas Murthy, I don't know how many of you know the explanation of me, so I thought let me know. So, Professor Buddharaju Srinivas Murthy, popularly known as Professor Murthy, is an Indian metallurgical engineer. He was awarded the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize for Science and Technology, the highest science award in India, in year 2007. Professor B.S. Murthy has taken over as a Director IIT Hyderabad on August 26, 2019. Professor Murthy started his academic journey with a diploma in metallurgy in 1983 from Government Polytechnic Vijayawada, followed by B from VRCE Nagpur in 1986. Amy from IIT Bangalore. He obtained the PhD in 1992 from IIT Bangalore. After serving at IIT Kharagpur for 12 years, he has been professor at IIT Madras and also served as a head of department for the metallurgy. He is an institute professor at IIT Hyderabad and an adjunct professor at Toronto Metropolitan University and the University of British Columbia, Canada. He has made significant contribution to the field such as non-equilibrium processing through the mechanical alloying, non-crystalline material, bulk metallic glasses, high entropy alloy, grain refinement of AI alloy and AI-based composite, and the list go on. So I'll come back to the result which matters at the end. At IIT Madras, jointly with Deccan University, Australia, Sir has Center of Excellence on Advanced Materials and Manufacturing. He has authored about 470 journal publications, 4 books. He has supervised 53 PhD. He has completed over 73 sponsored research projects and filed 20 patents. He is a recipient of numerous awards, as I already shared, including Shanti Saurabh Bhatnagar Award, J.C. Bose Fellowship, Distinguished Eminence Award from IIT Bangalore, INE Outstanding Teacher Award, Professor Externus from University of South Africa, Honorary Doctorate from Deccan University, Australia, Lifetime Achievement Award from IIT Madras, J.T. Birla Gold Medal, and the list go on. So I will not take much time, and above all, Sir, you have redefined IIT Hyderabad as innovating in technology for humanity. So bring a big round of applause to welcome the sir on the dais. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Good morning. Good morning to our All India Radio team who have given this opportunity for us to host this event. I'm very, very happy for all of you for taking your time and coming here, and all those students, faculty who are all sitting here. Digital transformation is something, when I go back to my college days and then until even my PhD days, we've not heard much about digital education at all, to a large extent. Most of our lectures used to be physical. Of course, it has its own beauty. Till today, 30 years of my teaching, I think it is 33 years as of today. It has always been a blackboard teaching. Even today, I go ahead by blackboard teaching. But then this blackboard has transformed to a digital blackboard now. That's a beauty of it, that once upon a time, if I write something and erase it, it is erased permanently. And now, if I actually move the screen, I'm able to write something more on the board, and whenever I need, I can bring it back and then talk about a particular point. And at the end of it, how many number of times I write, we can actually convert it into a file, and your class notes is more or less ready that way. So this is something which has not been there earlier, and that's something which I'm thoroughly enjoying last 3 years more or less here when I teach. And that's a small portion of it, but more importantly, teaching to a large extent. I will talk more from the teaching perspective in digital transformation. There can be so many other aspects of digital transformation, but as far as the educational institution is concerned, when you talk of digital transformation, it is being able to reach out to people. Okay. Earlier, our teaching was confined to our classrooms. At some point of time, suddenly, I do not remember, possibly early 2000 or so, a large number of private engineering colleges came into existence in the country. And suddenly, we started seeing that there is a vacuum of good teachers in some of these colleges. And then government came forward and said, can we not utilize the excellent teaching that is available in IITs and IISc to reach out to the students from other engineering colleges? And that's how what is called NPTEL came into existence. Some of you possibly have heard, and some of you possibly have watched these NPTEL lectures. And NPTEL has been a massive transformation, I would say. Almost 2,500 courses now. I do not know the exact count, but a large number of courses in all areas of science and technology and engineering has been, and also liberal arts and humanities also. We have courses available now. And with that, you are able to suddenly reach out to everybody in the world. They have been able to record the lectures that we do in the class and put the whole recording of 40 hours of lectures, for example, one full course in the YouTube, so that anybody can actually go through them and get benefited. And I have seen it myself. I have taught at least 2 or 3 such courses, and quite a number of people from various corners of the world used to write that, sir, we have learned a lot from this particular course. So that is something that we have been able to achieve. And then Swayam came into picture, and Swayam also has done a similar thing. Now, thanks to COVID, the reaching out to people in an online has become more and more. I think if there is something which is a positive outcome of COVID, I would say this: the digital transformation, particularly in education, has become a real reality, and we are able to reach out to a large number of people. We have done that in the hard time that we had in 2 years when students were not able to regularly come to the classes in a physical mode. We were able to reach out to them in various ways, starting from even WhatsApp to a video lectures. In all possible ways, we are able to reach out to them. And this year at IIT Hyderabad, we embarked upon a new journey where we call it as Open to All Teaching, OAT. We strongly believe that once upon a time, India was known to be a Vishwaguru. 1,000 years back or so, if you go, people from all countries used to come to India and study in India. Nalanda, Takshashila, people talk about all these. And it is time that we utilize the technology that is available to be able to reach out to the whole world. And with that intention, IIT Hyderabad has started this OAT, where we ask our faculty, are you interested to teach your course not only to the students in your regular class, but also to an outsider? And to enable that, what we have done is we have more or less converted most of our classrooms into what are called hybrid classrooms, so that you can physically have a few students in front of you and virtually again in front of you in a live manner, so that you can interact with them, the students can ask questions to you, and you are able to live interact. NPTEL, you could not achieve that. NPTEL is more like a passive. You listen to the professor, and possibly if you can get the email ID of the professor, send a mail to the professor, and if the professor is free, possibly he'll respond to you, otherwise not. Whereas here, we are talking about live interacting with the students. And we said, this is the course that is available. Here is the professor who is going to teach this. This is the course content. This is the timetable. And as long as the timetable suits you, you can be sitting in any corner of the world and please attend this particular course. So this way, anybody who wants to learn, you have an opportunity to learn. Okay, you don't need to pass JEE, you don't need to clear GATE, nothing is required. Your interest to learn is what is required. And this is a big step forward that we have taken up and say anybody interested to learn from any part of the world, we should be able to reach out to them and teach them. And that's how education should be. Okay, Vidyardhi. If you look at the Sanskrit word Vidyardhi, the meaning of it is somebody who seeks learning, somebody who is looking forward to learning, and somebody who wants to gain knowledge. And any Vidyardhi, there should be somebody who is able to impart that Vidya to such a person. And that's the whole concept with which we have started this, with about 15 courses this particular semester, and I'm sure this number is going to grow in a big way. And this way, we want to see how we can again become a Vishwaguru from India to teach to people who are sitting anywhere. And in fact, when I say anybody, I actually mean anybody. Okay, it could be a student, it could be a college-going lecturer who wants to just add a little more knowledge, something which he or she has not studied during their degree, but they want to learn more, upskill themselves, and be able to teach the students better and newer technologies that are coming up, newer aspects of knowledge that are coming up. Or it could be a working professional who thinks that learning a little more will help them to actually do better in their job. Or I would even go to the extent of saying it could even be a homemaker sitting at home. She or he have done their engineering or something, and then for family reasons, they are sitting at home, but they want to gain knowledge. And they would like to utilize a little bit of time that is available with them and be able to learn. And this is where I feel education should move forward. And digital transformation, when we talk about it, it is that digital transformation which is helping us to move in that particular direction. And I'm very confident in the years to come, this particular experiment that IIT Hyderabad is doing will become a norm in almost every institution. And you would see that most of the people will start learning. In fact, we started it in a small way, what is called online MTech. Because we saw that how do we reach out to industry people, working professionals, that they're all sitting in industry, they have done a BTech or something like that and joined there, and for them to get an additional degree of a master's degree, the industry has to give them a 1 year or a 2 year leave. And I always say this, if an industry can give you a leave for 1 year, they can leave you forever. Okay, that's the kind of demand that an industry has. So obviously it is not easy for them to get a leave and come to a particular IIT and study. We said, we will reach out to you. We said, we are going to teach you in the evening hours and on Saturdays. And you come to IIT only on the day of convocation. Again, possibly one of the very few institutions in the country which has started in this way. And we even went to the extent to say that a 2-year MTech program, I give you 4 years time. Do it at your leisure. One particular semester, your company is launching a new product. You are too busy to take a course on that particular semester. Don't take any course. 24 credits of theory is there. You complete it whenever you have sufficient time within that 4 years time period, and you get a degree. In fact, some people started approaching us saying, sir, in my company, you are saying your MTech has 24 credits of theory, 24 credits of project. I cannot do a project because I do get a very little time to do things like that. Can you help us? We said, we went to the Senate once again and got it approved to give such people what we call it as an executive MTech. That you just complete 24 credits of theory. You don't need to complete the project. And we give you an executive MTech. To that extent, we have been able to reach out to them. And I'm sure all these people will not only gain knowledge through that, at the same time, they become ambassadors to us and be able to help us to grow together. When you want to talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat can only come through collaborations. I strongly believe that academia and industry should work together, and then you will be able to see great things coming out, great technologies coming out. And this kind of avenues that we are creating are the ones which will help people to come together and work together. In fact, we even went to the extent to say that whatever you have at your institute in terms of research facilities, they should also be available for the rest of the world, rest of the country, so that we work together, collaborate together, and they use our facilities. Indian government has started a portal called iSTEM, and any institute can put an equipment of theirs on the iSTEM portal. IIT Hyderabad has put 480 equipment on the iSTEM portal. The only institute in the country which has such a large number of equipment on the iSTEM portal. So we want everybody to grow together. Okay, and again, this digital transformation is what is helping. People can book a slot sitting somewhere in some corner of the country for a particular SEM that I have, or a transmission electron microscope that I have. Okay, and this is a new dawn, I would say. All these are something that are helping us to be able to work together, learn together, and grow together. And I'm sure this digital transformation, our panel will talk many more aspects of digital transformation, but I focused only on the teaching, how teaching can be significantly helped through the digital transformation, and amazing things. For example, when I look at even a day-to-day life, India has got so much of transformation. I know you can just yesterday I was able to pay to a roadside chai wala using my mobile. I don't even carry my wallet at all nowadays. Last 10 days, we both were there in US. It doesn't happen in US. You cannot go to a small shop and pay through your mobile. Impossible. Okay. So you can see, while we say there is a lot to learn from US, they have a lot to learn from us. Okay. So we have been able to take digital transformation to a roadside vegetable. Yesterday, I brought some leafy vegetable from a small roadside shop and just use my mobile, nothing else. So this is the kind of transformation, amazing transformation that is happening. We are happy that we are all living in that period when this amazing transformation is happening, and let all of us together contribute to that transformation and take India to a greater level, that India once again becomes a great leader. Okay, as a metallurgist, I know that a lot of things have happened in metallurgy where we can say India was a leader. Steel was first produced in India. Okay, and there are so many, I can talk hours on what kind of great things used to happen in India. And now we seem to have, thanks to 400, 500 years of slavery, we seem to have lost our self-confidence. It is important that we get back to that self-confidence and demonstrate that India is great. And there is a lot of efforts in that direction. And last point I also want to add here is one more direction that India is going in a big way. On 29th of July, there was a meeting in Pragati Maidan where our Prime Minister was addressing a large number of, almost 5,000 people sitting there, addressing them on the 3rd anniversary of NEP. Okay, NEP is another major transformation where digital aspects are going to take an important step there. There, one more aspect that he was talking is slowly we are forgetting our language, our mother tongue. Okay, and anybody who forgets mother tongue forgets their culture. Okay, because language and culture are very closely associated. If you forget your language, you forget your culture. So how do we ensure that education in India can be taught in your local language? I mean, you cannot imagine engineering to be taught in, let's say, Telugu or Tamil or Marathi. We have not done that so far to a large extent. Think about engineering or MSc or BSc. Maybe in some local places, arts subjects are possibly taught. And I see in some remote colleges, while the subject is taught in English, but most of the time lecturer actually uses local language in explaining to the student. But at the same time, the major hurdle for teaching a particular engineering branch, let's say mechanical, in, let's say, Telugu, is that we do not have textbooks. If I have written 4 textbooks so far, but all of them are written in English. Even if I write, though I come from Andhra, I write it in English. So how do we bring, first of all, textbooks available for the students? Again, AICTE has taken up a big mission. I was also part of the steering committee on that, where they are now utilizing the technology that is available on what is called speech to text and converting all the NPTEL lectures into a textbook. In English textbook, let's say, and somebody checks the conversion properly and then validates it, and finally a book is ready in your hand. And now you can use ML to convert that English textbook to a number of languages, 16 different languages. Now AICTE is attempting to use ML and to translate this to a large number of languages. Imagine an MTech, mechanical BTech, you study five courses a semester, let us say, 40 courses at the end of 8 semesters. If all these 40 courses have textbooks available in Marathi or Malayalam or Tamil or whatever it is, Bengali, in principle, somebody sitting in a corner of a village need not have to learn English first to learn engineering. Okay, now it has become a barrier. Unless you learn English, you cannot learn engineering. It has. So we have one barrier gone. Go to any other country, go to France, go to Germany, go to Japan, go to China, Korea. Nobody teaches engineering in English. It's only uniqueness of India that we learn everything in English. Thanks to so much of slavery that we went through, and they have given this language to us, which we think I mean, to be honest with you, it's one of the awful languages, to be honest. On a medium like this, I am saying, I always felt this as a child. PUT put, CUT cut. Why should it be? Okay? There is no answer for that. But all of us read English. Okay? It is not a phonetic language. We all know. Indian languages are phonetic language. We speak what we write. Okay? But English is not like that. But still, we follow it. And can we come back to a stage using digital technologies that are available to be able to teach to our future generations in our own language, and then first feel proud to be coming from certain roots. If you do forget your roots, you forget everything. Okay, so I think this is also another attempt that is happening as a part of digital transformation, possibly, and I'm sure there will be a day where we will all learn, possibly in our own languages, at least if not this generation, next generation, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of things to learn from such an attempt. Okay, with those few words, thank you very much, friends. Thanks for this opportunity.
I guess the message is loud and clear. कैशलेस भुगतान से हुई आसानी, दूर हुई लेन देन की परेशानी, घर बैठे करो लाखों का भुगतान, डिजिटल इंडिया का है ये फरमान. And this line credited to obviously my mother, Dr. Lata Agarwal. It's not mine, so I should give the due disclaimer. So now we come to another yet interesting session as we talked about the education competition. And before I call upon the registered student, just let me tell you, all of you over here are welcome to participate. Let me tell you the theme, then I will call upon the registered student and other people can also join. So the theme is well known. It is a digital transformation and digital literacy. We have, anyhow, it is not limited to these four. If you have a wonderful idea, feel free to share apart from these four sub-verticals. So it includes digital transformation, taking rural India along with UN SDGs, women empowerment. However, I don't like this word because it is like we are considering that we are not strong enough, but we have to see how we can come out stronger, and how when we come to the digital transformation, the accountability of social media can be taken into consideration. So with this few things, and leaving aside to your wonderful thought to talk about more on digital transformation, digital literacy, we'll take a pause of 5 minutes and we'll resume the elocution competition.
Should we go down or?
I think it's better.
It's better we.
Okay.
When they come.
So before we go down, you can take your time to create your ideas and pointers. And may I request Ms. Lakshmi from AIR Hyderabad to give one welcome token to the sir, which we have missed starting the event little late. I request Ms. Lakshmi to please come on the dais and welcome our guest, Professor B.S. Modi.
I'm supposed to be host here. You don't give anything to host. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Now I request our director, Professor B.S. Modi, to please welcome RNU, the Deputy Director, Mahesh Kalu. Bank is known for a financial well-being, so I hope continue as we talk about the digital transformation. So now I request the dignitaries over dais to take their seat among the audience so that they can better enjoy this particular competition. I request Mr. Samir Reza from Liberal Art first year to please come on the dais and share his thoughts. And also you may specify under what subheading you are expressing your views.
Okay, hello, my name is Samir, but for the tech geeks, you can call me 01011100, and it goes a long way. So, well, before we get to the point of why digital transformation and digital literacy is important, I have a story to tell. A story where technology meets tyranny and brings a complete revolution, mind it, not metaphorically, but literally. I'm talking of the Arab Spring. This is the story of Mohammed Al Bouazizi, a young Tunisian boy who defies his destiny and transforms the face of global politics. Many are unaware of the fact that his death would bring a death to the monarch of Tunisia, throw Gaddafi off the throne in Libya, discard Hosni Mubarak as the president of Egypt, and compel countries like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Algeria to revolutionize the entire political system. Now, probably you all want to know who this young person, Hosni Mubarak, is, and that I leave for you to internet. Post Bouazizi's demise, this was the first kind of digital revolution or digital test that the world witnessed. The success of Arab Spring at large owes to the rise of digital platform with the launch of WhatsApp in 2009, community presence of Facebook throughout the world, and the rise of e-papers in the Middle East and sub-Sahara region of Africa. So now that we have seen the power of going digital, now it brings us to the question that where are we now and where are we headed to? Now, to put it with real life examples, I hope none of my professors are around. So traditionally, let's say that we used to do homework on a pen and paper, but now it's the chat GPT that is taking over. And the recent development does not limit itself to the emergence of AI, but the biggest achievement that can be seen in India is in the banking or the UPI sector. Now, for the last month, that is July alone, we witnessed more than 8 billion digital transactions, which is more than 200 billion US dollars alone. The current research paper that I'm working upon also pushes me to mention some of the key findings with regards to the expansion of metaverse. Now, if I were to look at the past and reflect the present, then I must state that traditionally we visited museums, but today virtual or VR museums are taking over. Traditional method of yoga is challenged by gamification of yoga. EEG and ECG graphs that were read by doctors are now decoded by the AIs. And most shocking development in the subject of reproduction has to be the artificially created fetus that is going to replace many of the reproductive unconformities. Now the question arises that where does India stand in all this and what lies ahead for us? So with 254 million youth and 3.75 trillion economy, we can tap into the digital space like no one else. The walk in the right direction has perhaps already begun. And this could be seen by the fact that Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICMR, has invested 52 crores for the large-scale demonstration of drone technology in the field of agriculture, which impacts 58% of the population directly and 100% indirectly. And to talk of the digital literacy, post the launch of Digital India campaign, rural India in particular stands at a better position to avail internet facility and digital accessibility. Government initiatives such as e-hospital, DigiLocker, e-attendance, and MyGov have improved day-to-day activities of the common people. And in sectors of education, we have seen IITs adding courses such as digital humanities, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. And such collective effort will definitely transform the new India that we want to see. And now to conclude my speech, I quote Rumi, "You were born with wings, why prefer to crawl throughout your life?" Thank you for having me here and have a good day ahead.
Thanks a lot, Samir. It is indeed a very different, varied angle to the topic. Now I request Mr. Rohan Seth to please come on the dais, please. Rohan. S. Arvind. Mr. S. Arvind? Rohan?
Keep calling it, okay.
Okay. So there are only these two participants. Anyone else who would like to share their thought on the topic? You are such a wonderful young minds. Please share your ideas so that this can speed up this digital transformation which India is aiming for. So may I request audience to give a go ahead, or otherwise you want us to wait for another 5 minutes so that you can gather your thought, let us know. You can say yes and then take your time. What is your good name, please? Shri? Shivasa. Okay, fine. Anyone else? I think so. All of us, there is a study which says on an average 4 hours an adult spend on phone. So I'm sure every one of you is well aware of social media, and you can help us when you're talking about digital data protection and all that. You can give us a lot of insight. So, your good name? Bharati. Okay, thank you.
All you can do is press.
Any more innovative minds? Girls over there? Let's talk about women empowerment.
Is that the reason for participation? Then come on. Okay, I think you're back to physics.
So I welcome on the dais Shivasava. You have also sent your entry for ideathon, so I know your idea is already ready. Just you have expressed it over Google form, now you have to talk to the people about it. A big round of applause for Shivasava.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. So I wanted to talk about how we can use blockchain to preserve privacy and also be transparent to everyone. Director was mentioning that you when you were in the US last year, it was difficult to pay online. But using blockchain, I'm not saying crypto is the future. I'm just saying that we can use blockchains. We can use blockchains and make payments international easier. And also, let's say when it comes to payments in our campus, like most of the students, we don't know what's happening with the funds, right? Yeah, of course, like it might be true that you are using it in a correct way, but we are not sure. We can't be 100% sure. So using blockchain, we can make all the payments visible to everyone, and like they can see where the funds are going. Are they going in the right direction or not? And you can just reveal whatever the information you want online, and you can protect using zero knowledge proofs. You can also protect whatever information you want to be private. And the can I say about the idea also? So the idea submitted for the ideathon was, can I have slides?
You have a slide with you now.
I have.
Let's say like an allocation only.
Yeah, your patient.
Yeah.
So
You can maybe open and see if you want yourself.
yes.
Stick to the time.
Just so the idea submitted for the ideathon is Nasha Band. Many of the young people now go to bars to party, which are not about who are not about 21. So they use fake ID cards to go to bars. So we can solve this using a digital. Of course, DigiLocker is there, but I don't think bars are currently using it. I recently went using a fake ID, so. It uses Reclaim protocol, which lets you generate zero knowledge proofs from any online website, and it uses that. And you can all you have to do is just scan the QR code and prove that log into your Aadhaar and prove that you are above 18. You don't even need to reveal your name to anyone. You just need to prove that you are above 21 and you are good to go. So it can stop people below 21 to not enter it. So that was my idea submitted for that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Shivaji. Now I call upon Dr. Bharati to join us, please. In due course, any of you got motivated to participate? Still, you have 5 minutes.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Vishnu Bharadwaj, and first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity and opening up us on-spot calls for this. I was only prepared for the Ideathon. Only because of this, I'm able to speak about. I'm able to take part in elocution. Saying that, let me move on to my topic: humanizing technology. There has been an endless debate of how technologies have been separating people. We do see a lot of cases in the modern psychiatry of technological addictions, gaming addictions, social media addictions. In the world where technology has broken the interpersonal barrier and is interfering into the lives. In fact, it's surprising to find that there have been several diverse cases filed because people were staying together. How surprising can that be? So from in the era of digitalizing, it is very important to talk about humanizing the technology and why would it benefit us. So when I talk about humanizing, I don't mean to say social media needs to be banned. It needs to be limited in your daily restrictions. The freedom of using the technology as per your whim and wish should be preserved while enabling positive human reinforcement. Talk about social media, share the content on social media, but have a conversation with your friend about it. In the same way, my Ideathon approach has been about using the technology to enable the rural women who have gone through the six phases of Anemia Mukt Bharat program and preserved their blood iron levels. After the 6 phases, they have a very good idea of this how system works, how PHCs are giving the medication, how Anganwadi workers interact with them, which can enable the technology to become an ambassador of the program. While when they become the ambassador, they can also they would be becoming an ambassador in the initiative after they become a mother and the child is about the age of 1 year, which gives them time to focus on other children in their community, in their surroundings. And the maternal instinct of a mother is going to be the USP of this initiative. Instead of gathering new and recruiting new people and training them the compassion and compassion, it will be easier to take a mother who has been benefited from this program and then connect them with the technology app or a software that enables them to gives them the access to the current healthcare resources of the country and in their rural language, which can then enable the mother, i.e. initiative, as I mentioned this in my Ideathon, can enable them to go to their locality, ensure the beneficiaries of this program, that would be children ranging from 6 months age group until adolescents of 16-year age group, and women who are recently married and gonna get pregnant can be monitored, can be registered under her, and can be ensured if their iron and folic acid pills compliance is working, their deworming is happening on time or not. Such simple initiatives can also build the health of a nation while decreasing the disease burden of a future generation. Since I do have a little more time, I would like to talk about value proposition of this idea. While a lot of economic studies talk about the financial model, my value proposition statement is about what this can contribute to the nation. Anemia as a problem can affect not only the mental and physical growth of a child, it would also drastically affect the pregnancy phase of a woman. In this phase, when the blood iron levels are not sufficiently supplemented to the woman during her pregnancy, pre-pregnancy phase, from first 3 months, which we call first trimester, baby develops neural tube defects, which can most often lead to death of the fetus, which is a huge trauma for the family, or can give congenital anomaly birth, which would be raising a disabled human. And that would be a burden for the society and for the country and for the family in future. All this can be prevented just by educating with the nutrition and also the current scheme existing with the iron and folic acid, very basic medication supplementation, which doesn't even cost much. Using such initiative of technology towards connecting people is what I call humanizing the technology and what the tomorrow needs to focus upon. By saying this, I thank the audience for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Bharadwaj. And now, without emphasizing much, since there were registered candidates, Mr. Rohan and Mr. Arvind, if they still would like to speak anything, if they're present here. Otherwise, we'll close this event. And in due course, we do the valuation. Just to update you, the IIT valuation has been already done. The winners has been identified. However, the participant will get the token of participation. And now moving on to our next, the main point of today's gathering, the panel discussion on digital transformation and digital literacy. So I take the pride to invite the esteemed panel on the dais, Professor Kiran Kuji, founder VSIP Network, and Professor Department of Electrical Engineering, Professor P. Rajalakshmi, Project Director Tihan, and Professor Department of Electrical Engineering, Dr. Mudrika Khandelwal, Dean of Alumni and Corporate Relations, and our moderator for today, Professor Chandrasekhar Sharma, Dean of Sponsor Research and Consultancy at IIT Hyderabad, to please take their chair on the dais. In due course, the valuation will be done, and the participants who have joined us today, I request them to be present over here and join us post-lunch networking lunch. So by the time the esteemed panel is taking their position, their chair, I would like to give a brief introduction of the panel who is been here for the benefit of the audience. So today we have with us Professor Kiran Kuji, the G-Man of IIT Hyderabad. Professor Kiran is a distinguished figure in the field of electrical engineering and holds a prominent position as a faculty member at IIT Hyderabad. With a wealth of experience and expertise, he has made significant contribution to both academia and industry in the field of 5G and 6G. PhD from University of Texas, Arlington, Texas, 2006. Professor Kiran Kuchi's journey extends beyond academia as he has successfully incubated VSIP Network, a groundbreaking startup at IIT Hyderabad, which is now currently based at TRP IIT Hyderabad. VSIP Network has emerged as a pioneering force in relay more wireless communications, specialization in the development of reference platform for 5G technology and 5G land. To move on, we have a Professor Pri Rajalakshmi, again a distinguished figure in the Department of Electrical Engineering and a AIC researcher in the field of IoT, Artificial Intelligence. She is a PhD from IIT Madras. Professor Rajalakshmi interest areas span a wide spectrum of cutting-edge areas, reflecting her multidisciplinary expertise in the field of autonomous navigation, aerial terrestrial autonomous navigation, testbed, living lab, drone-based sensing, wireless communication. She has been also been awarded prestigious science chair professor under the science chair in future communication, and she's currently serving also as a project director for the Dihan Center at IIT Hyderabad, a 130 crore DST sponsored project at IIT Hyderabad. And moving on, we have a Dr. Mudrika Khandelwal, our beloved Dean for Alumni and Corporate Relations, who has definitely transformed the digital academics at IIT Hyderabad in her lane. And today's session will be, obviously, it cannot be pivotal without an important point personality, Professor C.S. Sharma, who is currently working as a professor at Department of Chemical Engineering, and he is also serving as a Dean of Sponsored Research and Consultancy at IIT Hyderabad. He is a researcher in the field of nanomaterials and has been winner of very prestigious honor nationally and internationally. So now, without taking time of the audience, I leave the stage to Professor Sharma to take it forward.
Go to them. Good afternoon, everyone. So as we have seen, and in fact, Professor Murthy also mentioned some of the aspects of digital transformation. Now we are here to discuss more about this topic, digital transformation and digital literacy. So we have seen at the end of 20th century, the emergence of this internet led to the organizational digital transformation from analogous to digital information, which we call digitization, followed by the incorporation of information technologies into the business processes, which is called digitalization. So we can have a debate whether there is any distinction between the digitization and the digital transformation. However, I feel that the digital transformation goes beyond the digitization. It impacts and generates the new business models, value creation for the organizations. Organizations, various areas are influenced and committed to change for remaining relevant in today's context. So digital transformation goes beyond just incorporating the technologies. An example of this is to consider the digital technologies and automation demand that the workforce develop digital skills and the human-centered skills, which impacts the aspects such as culture, processes, as well as strategy of the organization. Consequently, the organization must make the necessary adjustment for its effective implementation. These impacts reach all the business, including the higher education. Higher education institutes like IIT Hyderabad in particular must be attentive to the change in the environment and society to ensure that students have the necessary knowledge and the skills demanded. Today, we are here to discuss some of these aspects, including the challenges before us as a higher education institute. I would like to request each of our panelists for their opening remarks on this subject of digital transformation and digital literacy. So let me start with Professor Rajalakshmi.
So when I find out not the identification of the environment, but rather incorporating what is the societal, cultural, environment aspects in digitization. That is where I think technology is also playing a key role where artificial intelligence, to integrate the personalized feeling into digital transformation. Okay, that's going to be actually the game changer and going to be, 2047. What we are talking about technology in 2047. we are saying, like how to integrate this personalized, human touch into digital transformed technology is what actually we are looking forward to. That is where even all the artificial intelligence technology, we are talking about generative AI, where the humanness or the cultural, social, environmental, perceptive features are more integrated into the technology, making it more personalized, making it part of part of a human requirement as a technology is, I think, going to be what we talk about as digital transformation requirement.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yes.
So this is the second event of G20 related to G20 we are hosting. We had the digital economy working group. I think more than 60 delegates have come here, and it was overwhelming to see them. They didn't want to leave the campus, although it was a 2-hour schedule. They spent an extra hour visiting Tihan, and some of the digital technology showcased. And one thing that that really fascinating to know is that a lot of countries are looking up to India in the kind of things we have achieved in creating so-called digital India. India has become quite a bit of a leader in this space, and G20 is a perfect platform to really take the rest of the world that is not yet digitized and show them the path. I think a lot of interesting developments ongoing behind the scenes, and that's really great to see. This is a space where Indian government is really taking the leadership. The second is, I don't know how many of you noticed, a few days ago, India has, Parliament has passed the data bill. We call it data protection or generally digital data. That's a path-breaking development as the country has really moved forward in creating a bill that really enables usage of data protection, privacy, and further developments in this space. So in this regard, I want to make a few remarks. This mobile devices has become sort of like a portal from almost every one of us to the rest of the world. But when I see this phone, when I start using the apps, always it strikes me for somebody who is fluent in English, using all sorts of different apps for either work or entertainment, whatever it is. How is that the same benefits are passed to the rest of the population, whether somebody living in the Mamadipalli area or the adjacent villages? How is that these populations are not deprived to the same content or whatever it might be? It could be education, entertainment, knowledge, whatever it might be. We cannot have this digital divide. So the fear is that the world is going to be divided into digital haves and digital have-nots. No longer, land and land used to be the have and have-nots, but that's no longer the case. Digital haves and digital have-nots. I think this is where young people, especially higher education institutes, students, faculty, and companies we incubate, they have to really take up this challenge, which is very unique to countries like India, where there is this big chunk of people who speak English and have the digital haves. We can educate a chunk of people in English, but then what about the rest? How are they going to access the world? The aged people or people who have not been exposed to digital technologies. How can they really benefit from these technologies? It's an open question. I'm just throwing this question open, and it's purely societal, it's technological, and there are deeper impacts. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's very nice that initially Professor Chandra has already said a difference between digitize and digital transformation. And like Raji mentioned, that it is more of personalization at this point, which is necessary. Kiran said that we have to also worry about who are not probably that well versed with English, which is still a medium of communication in digitization and digital transformation, if I interpret this correctly. I want to add another context here about the students. So I also started, along with one of my colleagues, the Teaching Learning Center here a few years ago. And one of the major challenges that we wanted to address and want to address is how to educate the 21st century students. And a lot of the reason behind is the internet that is there when they were, that was already there when they were born. When probably I was born, the internet had just started coming in. But when you guys are born, I don't think you can imagine a life where there is no internet, correct? No electricity, correct? You cannot imagine that. And because of that, there is a lot of digital transformation that we have to undergo in order to be better useful for the students that are out there. We are no more gatekeepers of knowledge, or simply digitizing my notes, making PowerPoints is not going to help. It's much beyond that. So that's one point that I think we will develop on later in this discussion. But one more point I will add is the expectation has changed. Today, any screen that we see, what is our expectation? We want it to be touch screen. Anything. You just want to do zoom in like this, right? You want to take a photo, you want to zoom in, everything. So we have become very, we expect a lot more that can be reality. And that's a concern for me as well. I leave it at that, and hopefully we'll develop on some of these points later.
Thanks, all the panelists, for their opening remarks. So, further we go, we will take some questions to all the panelists. So, just continuing what Dr. Mudrika mentioned about the learning aspect to the 21st century kids. So, as new technology become available to the users, it demands the continuous learning to remain relevant in today's context. So when we talk about the higher education institutes, so my question to all of you is that the higher education institutes, do you think they are doing enough on this front to integrate the digital transformation practices in the education? If yes, can you cite some of the examples even from IIT Hyderabad? So may I request Rajiv first?
So, from the education perspective, like what are the initiatives that IIT Hyderabad have taken? So I think, we are, setting, as the director already pointed out, some of the initiatives, all which itself is a greater initiative, I would say, because if you see, because even also we are industry. First thing that we see with the requirement of the industry is, can you help us upskill our existing professionals? This is the first thing that they require us to do. More than the R&D research problems, the first requirement that comes to us is, can you help us upskill our existing professionals? Simply because it's not that, the way in which the technology is getting transformed is humongous. There's somebody who has undergone an engineering education just 5 years before, and the technology that is currently available, it is too beyond, because of something which we call as web-based services, cloud-based services. That cloud-based services, the communication technology, cloud-based services, AI, ML, digital, that has created such a boom in the, I would say such a boom in the current scenario that somebody who has undergone even a recent engineering education, how does he keep himself updated with the current is only possible with higher education like us, and introducing curriculum or courses, I would say courses like short-term courses, certificate courses, open to all teaching, based, which is making everybody in this digital transformation to get the learning from IIT. I think we are also upgrading our curriculum, we are teaching the same old thing. We are also upgrading our curriculum so that it is more industry oriented and opening up, giving them more opportunities like open to all is one of the greater initiatives from the IIT. Keeping everybody industry, everybody participate in what we teach at this point of time. And I also talk more about it, like the software kind of stuff, everybody else is going to be cloud-based services, which is really very, very difficult for some of the OEMs, manufacturers, the industry in principle, it was conventionally meant to be very much floor-oriented, workshop-oriented. How it is going to transform, taking into account all these software-defined, cloud-based services, integrating them in their digital transformation arena, is something which I think as IIT Hyderabad will either would play in providing literacy.
Back to some of your experiences in IIT Hyderabad, where we are integrating these digital transformation practices into our education system.
So, I think last 3 years, I would say, I recall teaching a class for 1 hour, 30 minutes, sometimes exceeding to 1 hour, 45 minutes, writing equation after equation on the board, and expecting the student to really watch with wide eyes in amazement all these equations and explanations. In 3 years time frame, all of us teachers, especially those who have taught, at least I can only share, have undergone an explanation myself. I found my own optimal split of digital versus physical. Part. There's a part that I'm offering in digital mode. There is a part that I'm offering in physical mode. This is something very, you create your own recipe. I'm sure every professor who has taught, they have own optimal part. And IIT Hyderabad has given complete freedom to enable this. I don't know about other IITs. I can't really speak for them because post-COVID I haven't traveled much. I don't know what they are doing. But I can tell you that we make a very bold statement. IIT Hyderabad is probably really leading the path. Not just India, I'm talking about anywhere else in the world. That there is a very good mix of digital versus physical education offering. I think this is totally transformative. This is one thing I want to point. That really credit goes to the leadership more than anything else, and the professors and students who have stepped up to. But this is something we have to refine as time goes and understand this better. But we are reaching a point where I think there is a. The second thing is I want this future wireless communications program, which is really outside of the academics. I think you started this with G.V.V. Sharma teaching teacher. He has really perfected it while working with Professor Muzika. Today, we are recruiting students. The only requirement for the student to enter IIT in this program is not BTech, not MTech, not PhD. We are taking anybody with bachelor's kind of any bachelor's degree, and the testing that we do is only 10 minutes. So aptitude testing, we conduct a test every week, aptitude test, and anybody who wants to learn digital technologies in general, we give some financial assistance, and director and others are really enabling this program in a short amount of time. In 12 months, we trained about 120 students. Model grade goes to Sajid, and they don't need a computer when they enter. Because most of the people, some of the people don't have a computer, which costs anywhere from 30-40. The phone is transformed into a compute device, and the student who enters, student or a professional, gets a keypad, a keyboard, Bluetooth keyboard. We offer them for free. Computer is from, and then we give some digital boards, and the whole learning happens in the first few months until the person acquires a computer he or she owns. The whole teaching is done using this. This is really transformative. I'll spend more.
Thanks, Professor. It's really wonderful to know about it. So, from the Teaching Learning Center point of view, what do you think that what are the current new challenges when you talk about the integration of digital technologies into the learning?
So before I answer that question, I want to add a point. I think intention matters. Earlier, we all had intention to expand the knowledge, right? And we want to offer knowledge to more and learn more. Digital transformation and digitization, I want to put them separately, has helped us leverage that intention in a very, very various ways. Now, coming to question what you asked me. So if we look at different stages of education, let's talk about school. Then we talk about colleges, and then we talk about beyond colleges and everybody else. I think everything is quite different. They have different requirements. How digital transformation is helping is to custom make also curriculums as per the background, intention, and desire of the person. That is becoming a lot more easier. I can choose what I want to do. That is very important, which is not necessarily always easy when everything is in a physical mode or pre-digitization and digital transformation phase. So that's one thing that has been enabled. Challenges what we see is when I start saying that I'm using PowerPoint and that is digital transformation. That's a challenge, because just using PowerPoints, just video recording lectures may be digitization, but it's not digital transformation. And the definition of transformation should say that we have to do something beyond, enable something which is beyond. So I think that we should develop on that point maybe later, that when do you say something is transformational as compared to simply digitization? We all have been using PowerPoints. We have been doing video recordings. We have started doing exams online. But is that transformation? And that's a question I think I will leave it.
Thanks. I think Professor Kiran mentioned in his opening remarks about the digital divide. So I have a question on that. So how to ensure this inclusiveness when we talk about the digital transformation and avoid any biases in the learning, digital learning in a society when we all know that there is a deep divide in terms of digital access. So can you share your thoughts on that? Can we start with Professor Kiran itself?
So, we have this right to education. I think that's going to be a reality, or rather 100% implemented. I think there should be a fundamental right to digital access and connectivity. So, digital access requires a device, a learning device. Students or for elders, maybe some other device. For mothers, businessmen, there are different devices. So those who are so-called have-nots, they have to be, digital access should be a fundamental right. And then having a device is not enough. You need the connectivity and somebody has to pay for it. So connectivity is like water, gas, electricity. So connectivity is more or less along those lines. These two should be first addressed, in my opinion. It's more of a policy and the second part is and connectivity doesn't mean transformation is happening. The transformation requires content offering in vernacular languages. Okay, this is a must. Okay, and this is the haves and have-nots are defined by. I don't know about you, a lot of us were educated in vernacular languages, including myself, until age 15. So that could last. I mean, it's not going to be that every kid is going to be educated in English. This is going to be the differentiator between content in vernacular language and the delivery of mode of delivery of the content. That's something one has to think about. Whether it is PowerPoint or videos or customized learning, I mean, there's a whole gambit of things. And when it comes to perhaps even reading is not even an option for some of them. It has to be based on a conversation. I mean, the technology has to evolve to such an extent that the whole content access is and you speak and you access the content, it should be visual and conversation. We're not there yet. I think that's also going to be an important aspect for for students and professors and industry to really develop such tools. Thank you.
Professor Monica, your thoughts on this about the digital divide?
I agree with what Kiran has said, that just like we have been looking at rights to education, food security. And if you look at food security, nutritional security has not been guaranteed. I think it's a similar challenge here. Even if we try to give education, if we try to give free devices, question is, are they synchronized? And is the content really, really available and utilizable by the people? So I would just have a request at this forum, while we are having the privilege of knowing English, having devices, when we try to do outreach, can we also try to ensure, I really love the way you have structured that program actually. You give them the devices, you really don't need laptops to start with, you're actually empowering them with minimal of the resources. So in our own ways, we have to come up with custom made solutions, how you are actually reducing the digital divide. Digital divide does not mean that everybody should have a smartphone of 50,000 plus, etc. No, it doesn't mean that. Not everybody should know English. Digital divide is to reduce by making minimal available resources, but can they actually use them? That I would say is important.
Professor Raji would like to add a few pointed here that how to ensure inclusiveness in this digital learning.
So, yeah, it's a very classical example of how we have, divided. I mean, there is no digital divide at all. I mean, as director was pointing out, if we can, I mean, I also came to know that, even the roadside people who are actually making for this, they have UPI payment, they have the mobile, and you can scan their QR and, donate whatever you want to. I mean, this is what is happening in roadside of Hyderabad city in the junctions. Okay, so, the pervasiveness, the way in which we can, I would say, go in mass is, how to make the technology seamless. The second very important example is the FASTag. FASTag, one day, one overnight government says, no vehicle can pass the toll if you don't have the FASTag. Okay, and FASTag is such a simple technology. You just get the tag, impinged on your, stick it on your car. You just move, you just, do digital recouping, and you just have a, seamless mobility enabled on the highways. So such kind of technology, once it becomes seamless, once it becomes embedded into, everyday activity, it is possible only by making technology very, very simple. Simple to the extent that it is, agnostic to language, it should be agnostic to social behavior, it should be agnostic to culture. Then if the technology is such way developed, then the mass can be attacked. It can become more pervasive. Yes, yes.
Now we are busy after.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, from the education point of view, we are recently witnessing all these widening scope of AI technologies in the education. And of course, ChatGPT is top of the town. Now, my question is, how do you see ChatGPT in education, especially in the higher education? What are the potential benefits as well as the challenges? So again, I will request Raji to start with.
Yeah, so I think benefits, of course, I think the most beneficial audience are, because it gives, what I.
So benefits to the students and challenges to the faculty.
Created by them are no more, by them, they have taken help of ChatGPT, and, so it is really, again, making it more, giving more exposure for students, more, available contents are being, put in front of the student. But the challenge, I would say, is, curation and the authenticity. So, like, who is sitting there to authenticate the data that is being generated by somebody, which is based on already, available public data. And, we are moving towards something, people can easily tweak content, even the recipe can be changed. by putting more such kind of things, so such kind of vulnerability exists so my feeling is that there should be some authenticity being created. A layer of authenticity is also created, which helps reliability on the content that is being created as a part of this kind of mediums that are coming.
We're talking about some kind of framework.
Yeah, authenticity framework, which makes it more reliable for people to take it further, or any kind of research, or even taking it as part of my knowledge enhancement.
There are research papers in which ChatGPT is one of the authors, right? So again, as a researcher, what do you think? What are the challenges before us?
So before I answer the question, just I have one remark. When search engines came into picture, internet was there, search engines came into picture. That has huge impact, including the classroom. So there was a time when I gave my homeworks, the solution is only known to me, nobody else in the world practically. But then over time, the student has cracked the code. Now, but then that's not necessarily has stopped learning. So we have adapted, students have adapted, and we live in that the world of Google search where the student is getting the benefit. So the impact will be similar in the ChatGPT regime. But then when it comes to ChatGPT, there are a couple of things that are very striking. Those who are not well versed in the use of English language, writing scientific documents, writing technical reports, there are very smart students, but they may not be able to put their thoughts together in a form where the whole paper looks very elegant. And some people may never be able to do that. I had my own struggles very early on. I realized that when I wrote my PhD thesis, I have not written even a single paragraph of English because you are not trained in that mode. But then ChatGPT is a very good tool which kind of mitigates that problem, right? You shouldn't be ashamed of using it to improve your language. That's one part of it, right? I don't think there's any harm in doing that, as long as you're only improving the grammar and syntax and the flow. That's perfectly fine. But when the second part of it is, ChatGPT is primarily an English language-based tool, then this is going to create haves and have-nots that I've mentioned. What about the rest? If you are not exposed to English language, you are basically not going to have these benefits accrue to you. There is no ChatGPT for all the literature, all the information accumulated in Telugu, and you search for the information. That's not available. So this is something one has to really pay attention to. That's always in the back of my mind. But otherwise, ChatGPT will take its own course and will adapt, and we'll have to live with it.
Thanks, Professor.
So I was encouraged by my students that I should start using ChatGPT. And like you said, it is not probably wrong as long as you're using to improve the English or grammar and so on. And I felt very encouraged. I'm also very tempted to run ChatGPT on everything I write now. And I don't know if that's good or not. But anyway, that's on the lighter note. And my student also told me that he managed to write answer to one of the open exams through ChatGPT, and the faculty replied back saying, "Oh, that's a very interesting approach to write the exam. Come and meet me." Yeah, so I think he has to go and meet with the ChatGPT to this faculty. Anyway, that all is a fact. A lot of the students are present here, and we all know what goes on in the background, right? My trouble is this. When you have students, so let's imagine a few years ago, when you were given an assignment to probably explain a concept or solar system, let's say, many of the students would actually write theoretical answer. Solar system has 8 planets, then 9, and the center is the sun and all the planets rotate around it. But there'll be this one person who will draw it, right? and then he lives around it and so on. What I am thinking might happen is a lot of us will use ChatGPT as a baseline. And then we'll start looking for that one additional person who has used his or her own inputs and brain to make the answers better, solutions better. Yeah, that's it.
Since we are having this discussion on the G20 platform, so now my question is that when we talk about the digital transformation and digital literacy, how the G20 as an organization play a role in achieving the digital literacy and how it can be used to transform the world for the good. So can you please share your thoughts? So I request this time Mudrika to start with.
The good thing about having several countries on board is that you have all kind of populations as an example available on the platform. And the representatives have to do a very good job on making sure that larger communities are certainly well represented there when you think of adopting solutions and so on. So what Kiran has been saying and Raji has also pointed out, haves and haves not. I think the first task should be to find out the penetration level or the acceptance level. So when we have been talking about penetration, I don't think we have been talking about acceptance. Many people may not want to even accept digital transformation. So I don't know if acceptance is also something which has to be addressed from anthropological point of view. So I would just add that one new point and then let others talk about it.
So I think that this G20 presidency coming to India is a very
Practically we are away from what we call physical classroom anymore. So we are moving towards digital transformation, and G20 is a perfect platform. I think this year we'll be able to showcase we do the development. Also, we enable the developing nations to adopt and nations interfacing more technology with the developed countries. So, enhance in this area of different areas, liquidity or finance management and others.
So I'm sure this engaging discussion we had so far might be having an opportunity for our audience to understand this topic a little better, and maybe might be having some queries which our panelists may try to answer. So now the floor is open for any open question to the panelists. Yes.
If you have a question, go ahead. Yes, yes, please.
It's very discussion.
You're audible. It's okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
It was quite discussion what we had about this activity. It's about to change small application and it. ChatGPT type of technologies can help us. It's a personal view, really. Can help us in the within around new thing and new indoors it cannot. Anyway, the progress has to be made. The person who is using the recently we just coincidentally we had an experience with actually trying it's a perfection. So it can give lots of information and even the small detail about a known place, known information, known organization, known result. It is not helping. So when it comes to the New Year aspect, it will give a lot of details about Taj Mahal, but it cannot give information. So the people who are using this technology can get the knowledge and experience. But it cannot, and it is not giving the new giving these into the program. Create by math, education. That's what that explanation. Correct.
Language point ChatGPT is nothing but digital Wikipedia. It is not updated. So that's a deficiency that is the negative aspect of it. Like she said, Taj Mahal will get. But you write something of Chandrayaan, I don't think it's nothing but digital Wikipedia. That there, I think the exposure goes. It is speed in getting information instead of immediately to the network. Thanks.
Yes, please.
Anybody wants to react to the panelists about this?
Yeah, the fundamental scientific principle behind ChatGPT, because we work with technologies of very similar nature. And the way I tell some layman, they say, how are a child says you, ChatGPT is based on the principle. If you say Q, then ChatGPT says you. The fundamental scientific principle is that. This is all it's based on. It's just enhanced in many different ways. So it is. They also say ChatGPT 3 is trying till so and so day. So it has no notion of events that happened after that. So it's a very powerful tool. It has its own limitations. We have to acknowledge it. Like you correctly mentioned, if you ask about Taj Mahal, it will tell you everything. So it's a good learning tool for a child. If it can be improved and you can impart teaching about simple things that exist. But I also found out that I was talking to a very young boy who visited me a few days ago. He was working in some place. He told me he gives ChatGPT some inputs and what he needs to do in his job, and it gives you the computer program. And all he has to do is change 5 things. And you are smart enough to change the 5 things, his job gets done, and the company accepts it. So it's a productivity tool from that point of view. It can be used as a productive tool, but it needs somebody with intelligence to exploit it. So there's a lot of good about it. I am not going to talk about the ill effects of it. Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I wanted to know the panel thoughts on blockchain and crypto and how
what their thoughts and policy on crypto in India.
Yeah, I think we have two experts here. Yes.
Actually, security, cyber security is the requirement, where digital transformation happens. There is no way that our technology can be vulnerable to any issue. Earlier when it was not digital, it was supposed to be more secure because some physical invasion is required to do anything. But now since it has become digital and cloud-based services, now people are talking about compute in the cloud. So my data is going to be with me in my premises. Data is there in the cloud, compute is in the cloud. So now how do I enable the security so that everything is going to be secure? And again, I go back to the point of reliability. So the technology becomes more pervasive when it gets the confidence of people. When I feel more reliable. So cyber security, cryptography, everything plays a very, very key role in this decade. I would say the decade digital transformation is success only if we are going to integrate those cyber security aspects to make the technology reliable for a common man to use.
Yeah, you can take one more. Yes, please.
So, in my first year in MTech in medical innovations, and so I've been thinking it's not a new idea to connect a thermometer and pulse oximeter with Bluetooth to a computer, which makes it easy to gather data. But not a single hospital in Hyderabad is doing this. We are so rural, and when we go to rural, of course, power cuts and internet connections are still an issue. So when we talk about digital transformation, of course, UPI is a great thing for the country, but an essential country, the food requirement is health. And it's so less. In fact, even we do not have digital cases. So why is this happening? I mean, it's not an idea defect. It's not a lack of technology. Where is the gap in it?
So we understand technology, but not the doctor's, what goes through a doctor's mind. So I can only say a few things. From what I understand, for the medicine, medical practice, and technology, digital technologies are very distinct areas. Not to say that it means medical practice doesn't use technology. Medical practice, right now, you go to a hospital, what do you see? All electronic, right? So medical practice does exploit technology really, but what it does not come though is exploitation of digital communication, the digital technologies, and digital health delivery. There seems to be two barriers. One is if you take a thermometer reading, a doctor has been trained in the media to take the reading and make some decisions based on that. RHR made by patient to give you. They're trying to see, they're trying to use our digital technologies as a protocol. When you find it, so these technologies have been matured to an extent that the regulators have accept the use of digital technologies in health management, health delivery, and then your training should also include the exploratory time, just a matter of time before this really happens. I think we are looking at maybe 5 years or within a decade this is going to happen. Maybe soon.
Yeah, please.
So my parents are doctors, and they're about 65 to 70. So they have probably seen this time when there was almost no digitization, and now they are amongst a lot of digitization. And the question is this: there are few pointers here. One is it took one demonetization to actually shift to UPI, right? So one is need for very strict measures, like Raji was also saying, right? You cannot pass through the toll gate if you don't have RFID. That's one. Second is acceptance, what Kiran was mentioning. I've seen doctors, blood pressure equipments you might have seen already, right? But you might still remember that you have to blow that balloon, you want to hear it in your ear. Many nurses and doctors still want to do it by feeling the pulse rather than seeing on the screen, because there are really offsets. As a doctor, you might accept that. So there are really offsets there. Few 10 millibars here and there. Sugar, glucose monitoring. Lot of diabetic patients do the prick test. But when there is still really a concern, what will you tell that person? Go and get a blood test done. Yes. So acceptance is important. Second, are we channelizing enough energy on making them accurate that you're 100% sure about it? Thermometers also, infrared thermometers. I still use mercury thermometers. Okay. And I think I'm fairly accepting digital technologies. But it's also about what we have been seeing. And has people put a danda on our head? Do this. That's it.
Thanks. So I truly appreciate our audience for such participating engagement to make this whole discussion meaningful. We are now towards ending of this interesting and immersed discussion. However, before we conclude, I will request my panelists to say their final words quickly in just 1 minute to have their summary.
First of all, I appreciate the organizers for giving us a chance to express our views on these very important aspects that we otherwise don't really touch upon the public forum. Maybe we have private conversations. So it's a very interesting topic, and this is something to reflect on and think about for every one of us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, play a major role in digital transformation. I think globally, I think India is going to play the global leader, I would say, in some verticals providing digital transformation platforms. And I think G20 is going to be one of the platforms in which we will be again showcasing most of our advanced technology already available. And I think next 10 years, in more secure, reliable national India is coming up with frameworks to also implement those things. So it will be, I think, the global leader in digital transformation.
Yeah, I agree with what Raji and Kiran have said. I'll just add that we still have to make it more acceptable. And second is we cannot just accept technology without using our own brains. So let's keep our brains oiled, functional, and then further transform the world using the technology. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Liz. So if you see, we have touched upon various aspects of digital transformation. Professor Raji mentioned about the personalized touch to this technology. While we also discussed about the data privacy. Professor Kiran mentioned about the right to digital access. I think that's a bold statement. And I think, yes, we are moving in that direction. We also discussed about the digital divide. And we also thought that use of the vernacular languages may be one way to bridge this gap for the digital divide. So finally, before I conclude, I must acknowledge Akashvani Regional News Unit, Hyderabad, for this wonderful initiative and opportunity to IIT Hyderabad to host this event. Especially with the digital disruption and rapid adoption of the technology during the pandemic, it's a high time to learn and participate in the process of digital transformation and ensure the digital literacy as expected from a higher education institute like IIT Hyderabad. As we have learned that the digital transformation of higher education institutions goes beyond its impact on administrative and operational processes. There is a need to incorporate educational trends, new pedagogies and technologies to develop the level of digital literacy for both the teachers and the students. Higher educational institutes, as trainer of future professionals, must acknowledge the need for the digital transformation and act upon to develop the strategies so students and teachers are well prepared for the demands of the workplace. The pandemic spurred the urgency of developing the digital skills for both the teachers and the students. The technologies they use for socializing and leisure become now necessary tools for our work and study. The development of teachers' digital competencies involves not only the mastery of the technology, but also the improvement of their teaching practices, with the appropriate pedagogical use of technology to contribute for the student learning. The same applies to the students, who should be provided with the relevant training for the development of digital skills and prevent the lack of these from becoming an obstacle to their performance in the classroom. With this, I again thank you, all of you, for participating in the discussion. Thank you.
कौन कहता है पंखों से उड़ान होती है, हौसलों से जरा उड़ान भड़के तो देखो, कैसे कह दिया आसमान मुट्ठी में नहीं होता, हाथ उठाओ मुट्ठी खोलकर तो देखो. That was a wonderful thought. I think I could wonderfully was having a line to summarize this. Is all the intent, as our panelists were saying. And now I request Shri Mahesh Garu, Deputy Director, AIR Hyderabad, to please come on the dais and share a token of gratitude to the panelists for being present over here today. Nice, thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm driving.
I want to take a picture of you.
Thank you all the panelists, and I also thank the deputy director. I also thank deputy director Shri Mahesh Garu for giving the mementos to all the panelists. But we have seen the program, but I wanted to inform you the woman behind this entire program, the infrastructure build-up. I request Mr. Mahesh Garu to honor Mithali ji in the moment, and she deserves it. And also Shivaji.
We can just hold the trees. My event manager is thanks to you. From All India Radio Bhopal, from India Radio Hyderabad.
Mitali ji doesn't like empowerment. She's already empowered.
So now is the time to recognize the brilliance that has shown through the various competitions, the ideathon and the education we have heard today, and we honor those who have illuminated our mind. So to start with the today's event, the education. So I call upon stage Shivasava Gaur for his participation prize, please.
Not here. Okay.
Dr. Jyoti Vishal Bhaduja for second prize for his amazing thought-provoking questionnaire to us. Thank you, sir. Vishnu Bhaduja.
Congratulations.
Now the winner for today's program, Mr. Samir Reza, first prize.
We'll share photos with you, don't worry. Digitize this.
So now come back to the ideathon. So we expected a 32 participants, and in ideathon we have received total 7 entries. So first I'll start with the participation thing. So I call upon stage Dr. Vishnu Bhaduja for his amazing idea. Next, I call Ruchika. If she is around. Those who are not around, they can collect their token of appreciation from the PR office at 8215 IIT Hyderabad. Mukund, is he here? Varnika. Now come back to the third prize, Shivasava Gold. Mr. B. Lokesh, second prize. Guys, please round of applause for your own friends. I hope the ideas get implemented soon. Now the first prize for the ideathon goes to Miss Sondarya AM. Is she around? Other request any friend of her would like to collect on her behalf from Heritage Science and Technology? Fine. So now so this is not the conclusion, as we know that the journey will go on. So now I request our Dean ACR, Dr. Mudrika, to deliver the vote of thanks for today. And the audience can join us for the lunch outside this auditorium.
So thanks a lot for being here. First of all, the audience. We struggled in the beginning to have some of you, but good. So first of all, thanks to the country that we took this lead in hosting G20. Thanks to Akashvani. Thanks to Mahesh Garu, Puri Garu, and Lakshmi ji for coming here and their team for coming here. I should also thank Professor Kiran, Professor Raji, and Professor Chandra for accepting to be in the panel as moderator and panelist. Thanks a lot for that. We had some fantastic questions and very nice things to even which revealed to us, while we were talking. So thank you for that. I also want to thank my office, PR team, FIC PR, Shivaji. So thanks a lot for coordinating that. Mitali, PRO, thank you for that. Neerja and the PR team. Thank you, everyone. And I wish all of you can join us for lunch. Thank you so much.
So before we proceed, so let's stand in honor of national anthem, please. We are playing as a trigger so everyone can start.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जया जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
जय हिंद स्वतंत्रता दिवस की अग्रिम शुभकामनाएं। स्वतंत्रता शुभकामनाएं। Advance wishes for Independence Day. Thanks for joining us today. This is Mithali signing off for today and hope we will meet soon for some other digital transformation in future. Thanks a lot. Maybe we can join for a group photo with the team.
In welcoming you to the 112th annual general meeting of your company. This AGM is being held through electronic mode in conformity with the regulatory provisions and the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. I have been informed by the company secretary that necessary steps have been taken by the company to ensure that members are able to attend this meeting, this AGM, and vote on the resolutions proposed at the meeting in a seamless manner. I have also been advised that the requisite quorum is present. I therefore declare the meeting to order. I would like to advise that I am attending this meeting from Kolkata. I would now like to introduce my colleagues on the board who are attending this meeting from different locations. I will start in alphabetical order with Mr. Nakul Anand. Mr. Anand is a whole-time director of your company attending this meeting from Kolkata. I hereby inform the members that this is the last AGM for Mr. Anand as a director of your company. He will be retiring on 2nd January 2024 after serving the board for 13 years and the ITC group for more than 44 years. I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of everyone present in this meeting to acknowledge Mr. Anand's valuable contribution to your company. Next is Mr. Sheel Bhadra Banerjee, an independent director and chairman of the Nomination and Compensation Committee, attending this meeting from Faridabad. Mr. Hemant Bhargava also is an independent director, is attending from Jaipur. Mr. Peter Chitranjan is a non-executive director of your company, is attending this meeting from Chennai. Mr. Arun Duggal, an independent director and chairman of the audit committee, is attending from Gurugram. Mr. Supritam Datta, a whole-time director and chief financial officer of your company, is attending from Kolkata. Mr. Mukesh Gupta, a non-executive director of your company, is attending from Mumbai. Mr. Shamal Mukherjee, an independent director, is attending from New Delhi. Next, Mr. Anand Naik, an independent director and chairman of the Security Holders Relationship Committee, attending this meeting from Bengaluru. Mr. Sunil Panre, a non-executive director of your company, is attending from Kolkata. Mrs. Nirupama Rao, an independent director, is attending the meeting from Bengaluru. Next, Mr. Ajit Seth, an independent director of your company, attending from Washington, USA.